So we're going to get started. You're going to have to sit through a couple minutes of me talking, and then we'll get to the main event, the 6th Annual Matrix Media Ad Sales Summit. I do want to, before I jump in, just share with you a little funny anecdote from last evening. So I think many of you guys know Michael Spiceman, and this guy knows how to give me you know what. So we're talking last night, and of course, I didn't realize, this is how much I don't do for this event. I didn't realize we were outside, which was great because it's so unusual for this conference. So I had a blazer on that was fairly thick because inside it's always 30 degrees down here. So I was talking to Michael and I said, God, I'm really hot. It's just so hot. He goes, well, I don't know if I'd say you're hot. I mean, you're not bad looking. It absolutely was. It absolutely was, but it was very, very funny. So I mentioned last night, and I think people who've been here multiple times, we understand why we're here. We're here to come together, to talk about the industry, and I always say we're here to talk about the future, the challenges we face, and the opportunities that exist. And many of you maybe know my background. I spent 20 plus years in private equity and hedge funds, and I was never an industry specialist, though I feel at this point I feel like part of your family. I've been in this industry long enough that I can say at least I'm an adopted son. But I've seen a lot of different companies in a lot of different industries, and one thing that I see a lot in this industry is I often hear, here are the challenges we're facing. And yes, you have to be conscious of the challenges, but rarely do I hear people term those challenges as opportunities. And for me, I'd really like us to take some time to say, rather than saying, what are all the challenges that we're facing? What are some of the opportunities that we can take advantage of to really thrive and prosper? Because as many of you know, I personally believe the person sitting next to you is not your competitor. Your competitor is Google, Amazon, and Facebook. They have the money, and if we can get together and seize those opportunities, we can start reclaiming some of the money that is rightfully ours. It's interesting, and I'm not going to say I'm Bill Gates, because I'm not. I wish, but one of the things he talks about is being a realistic optimist. The idea that in the long term you have to see opportunity and believe you can take advantage of that opportunity, but in the short term you have to be a pessimist and think of all the challenges that you're facing and how to deal with them. And so I would encourage, as we go through the day, to think about those things. And I even think about that, I wish I had this whole stage here. I think about that from a standpoint of Matrix itself. So I think many of you would be aware that one thing that we believe is that there needs to be, for the sales organization, a technology end-to-end backbone, where you go from the beginning of the sales cycle all the way through revenue recognition, and you have a system or systems that work together to create that backbone. And then other components, of course, can feed in and enhance that experience along the way. And why Monarch, our revenue management system, we believe is a significant part of that backbone, there's components that aren't there in the spine. And so many of you know, with the backing of a couple of our clients and some non-client organizations, we embarked on developing the other component in the backbone, Admiral, the idea of an automated converged workflow system for the execution and order side of sales. I think we called it Admiral, if I didn't mention that. We started developing that. We faced some challenges. And, I'm not a guy, I'll tell you, if I have a challenge, if I have a problem, I don't just try to sweep it under the rug. So we faced some challenges, and we took a pause in developing the system because we recognized there are other organizations that were working on similar products. So we've been taking time to see how they look and making a decision. Did we want to continue investing in the Admiral platform, or did it make sense to accelerate that backbone development, something we believe in that will make you more competitive and partner with another organization? So I have no announcement today, but I did want to address that, saying when we think about opportunities and challenges, we see the opportunity, we know it needs to occur, and I think you'll see some announcements over the next, let's say, month or two as to progress in that space. Meanwhile, we of course have our Monarch system, which is something I wholeheartedly believe in. I was part of the investment group and the investors who bought Matrix. And generally we viewed Matrix as, I would probably call it a turnaround when we took over the organization. But even then, what was termed now as Monarch was Matrix, is a product that really gave clients a lot of value for the dollar. And we continue to invest in the product really to help enable sales teams and sales organizations. And it's not just about the same widget in a CRM system that you might get in a generic tool like a Salesforce or a Dynamics, but it's really about understanding, bringing in all the different revenue and billing information, coordinating that with budgeting, forecasting, pipeline management to empower the teams to excel. And why historically we were a local broadcast tool, we've invested to create workflows on the national level. We've worked to create workflows for network, digital, and addressable. And so we continue to invest in that core product to ensure that we're enhancing the experience for our teams. And it's interesting because we have a prospect who's actually a fairly large organization, and they're not here, so don't bother. And they're on a different tool. Well, they're on Salesforce, and they've been on Salesforce for about 10 years, and there's still things they haven't been able to develop, like auto reconciliation. They don't coordinate the data with their billing systems, so there's no accuracy in the system. And so these are things that we really believe enhance the experience for our clients. So when we look at a conference like this, when we talk to our clients, we try to learn and grow and really bring up solutions for you. And one last example before we turn it over to Tim. I don't know where Kurt is, because you guys know I'm blind as a bat, even with glasses. But Kurt Rao, he was generous enough to spend a day with us talking about different solutions that our system could potentially provide for our clients. And one of those solutions was, we have a storage system within our product, Monarch Locker. He said this could be really a tool that helps not only store documents, but empower marketing teams to interact with sales teams, ensuring that their marketing material is really flowing to the right people. And at the same time, it could start measuring the effectiveness of the marketing collateral that's being produced. And we said, wow, that's a great idea. So we've started going to other clients, seeing how they think about that process, and so how we could develop. So these are things that we always think about. And just like I encourage you to use this conference to go home and understand, we do the same thing. So I will say that this conference could not be made possible. Again, I sound like PBS. You know, I think that's their slogan. Maybe that's where I got it from. Without our sponsors. We have two premier sponsors in Compulse and in Ground Truth. And so we really appreciate their generous support. We also will have some session sponsors, Pure Integration, Advisor, Imagine, as well as Revenue Analytics. And I'm sorry, I do have the note, of course. I try to memorize everything. And I cannot read my writing. Deanna? Be Creative. I am so sorry, Be Creative. Yes, Be Creative. And so we really appreciate them because, as you know, this is not a conference where we make money. We really felt like it's important to get you all in a room in a really safe, exciting environment to exchange these ideas. So with that said, my final note is this conference could also not be made possible without the really hard work of Deanna and Rise Marketing and their team, with Brenda Hetrick. I think everybody knows Brenda is my boss. and Tim Hanlon, where he's going to come to the stage now. I think we all know Tim as well. He's been an integral part of the Summit and Matrix family. He is the president of the Verita Group. And Tim, I'm going to let you have it. And I'm shocked they don't have stairs. I feel like I'm in step class, if anyone.
2, 3, you did it.
Take care.
Great job. See, all you have to do is turn the on button on, and it works just perfectly. Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Hanlon. The Verita Group is the firm that I run. It is based in Chicago. Certainly happy to be here, even though it's wet and drizzly, because anything beats Chicago this time of year until May. So come back in May, come visit. Don't bother until then. As Mark mentioned, through the generosity and the kindness of Brenda and Mark and Deanna and the team and stuff, happy to be with you for, I think, my 5th go-around at this. I think this has been 6 years, though, in total. And hopefully the weather will break, and it's already better than it was last year, let's put it that way. So I'm not going to sort of belabor, but there's lots of great stuff coming up here during the course of today and tomorrow. The idea is curation of hopefully quality topics, some granularity to them. Hopefully you'll take some notes, and hopefully you'll learn some stuff, okay? A lot of these conferences can be a little gab-festy, and there'll be plenty of that. But hopefully some real good insights and stuff, and hopefully you'll be paying attention, and there'll be plenty of coffee to ensure that you do.